Live on WFLA now. Feel good and live your best life with Bloom Health Club. Here's Gail Guayardo.
A world-famous violinist is breathing new life into old world music, making it more mainstream and lifting our spirits. Joining me now is the famous Bernadett Nyari. Bernadette, welcome to Bloom. It's such a pleasure to have you on the Bloom Health Club.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure that I can be here today.
And you have a new single out, which is so incredible. I want to play a little bit of it for our listeners and people that are viewing this podcast right now. It's called Rebirth.
Just the one, Bernadette? No,
that's not it, Bernadette.
It's the other one.
I mean, let Bertie get it. I kind of threw that at him really quick, but I want to say while Bertie's teeing it up that all of your music really is getting so much attention from today's youth because of this whole Bridgerton craze where, you know, young kids of today are learning about, you know, how things happened generations and generations ago. And so this kind of violin-based music in Rebirth is resonating with audiences of all ages.
This is exactly what we are trying to do because I come from classical music. I think classical is the base, you know, technique-wise, if you want to learn how to play an instrument. But, you know, nowadays, especially for the younger generation, but at the same time, I like to, you know, make everyone happy with the music. We were trying, with my producer, we were trying to create a kind of music which we can play to any kind of age, to any country in the world, worldwide, anywhere. So
there's almost like an infusion going on with your music.
Oh, it is 100%, yes, because it is coming from classical. Let's say you can hear the classical bass, the background, but still it's EDM, electronic dance music, fused with 100% pop, like nowadays pop, with a little bit of film music. So really, it's perfect for every age, you know.
And you know, a lot of Bernadette's inspiration came from her late grandfather. And I think this is such a beautiful story because you started to learn to play the violin at around the age of 6. And a lot of what you're doing today is in his memory.
100%. I come from musician family. Everybody is musician, but my grandfather was the main character. I never met him. He passed away in 1974, and I was born many years later. So I really didn't have the chance to meet him, but still, you know, I heard so many stories about him. And his biggest dream was to come to the United States and perform here. So once I decided that I actually want to become a musician, I just really wanted to make his dream come true. And this is one of the main thing I am doing, the reason why I'm doing what I am doing.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note, too, that your grandfather, you know, growing up in Budapest at that time, in that era, you know, it was his belief system that really robbed him of his freedoms to share his music with the world.
What happened, actually, it's a very, very sad story. What happened is that he traveled the world, he'd been in different countries, but the biggest dream always was to the United States. So he was a composer as well. He wrote beautiful music. So one time he supposed to go travel somewhere and he went to pick up his passport. And he looked up and he said he believes in God. So they took his passport away, they deleted all his radio recordings forever, and they cancelled all his contracts abroad. So since then, he never left Hungary anymore. He started to play in like little pubs, and basically, I think 1 or 2 years later, he passed away. So that's it.
Yeah.
Very sad.
So basically, he was stripped of his dream. He never got to share it. But today, I am sure that your grandfather is smiling down on you with all of that. Because you're bringing his music back to life.
I am trying my best. And you know, his wife, my grandmother, actually will be 105 years old now in August. So actually the fact that she can still see that it actually happened, you know, the Carnegie Hall concert, I only played my grandfather's songs, you know. That's why the name of the concert was The Untold Melodies, because because of my grandfather, right? So of course, my grandmother couldn't be there in person, but now that she still knows the stories and everything, I think it's amazing.
That is incredible. And what was the experience like playing at Carnegie Hall? Something that most people can only dream of.
To be honest, every time just when I think about it, I have goosebumps because the walls in Carnegie Hall, it's just so much history, it's such an iconic building, so many incredible artists played there over the years. So for me to be lucky enough, blessed enough to play there, just when we did the rehearsal already in the afternoon and I was playing, some notes, I was like, oh my God, is this actually a dream? I still cannot believe it that it happened.
And a lot of what we do here on the Bloom Health Club, it's not always about medicine. It's not always about a cure for this. But what we talk about is balancing life and being able to live your dreams. And you're actually going to be a part of a show that airs on Wednesday here in the Tampa Bay market at 2 p.m. on WFLA. And our show is syndicated in 350 million homes and streaming really around the world. So we're talking about living your dream because this life is not a dress rehearsal. You get one shot. And when Bernadette's son, newborn baby, was only 2 weeks old, that's when she got the call from Carnegie Hall that, hey, we need you. We want you to play here. I mean, here's the big dream. And there's a baby in one arm and a violin in the other. And you said it was really important to you to be able to have both of these miracles happen in your life.
100%. And it was a very difficult decision, I must tell you, because as you said, I had the 2 weeks old, my firstborn child in my arm. And I read the email, and the email says that we have an offer for you for October. This was in January. But still, my grandfather music is very difficult music, so it's not like that I can just get ready in a day. And this Carnegie Hall, come on, so I really have to practice here. I need months. And I was dealing with, with the baby, like between really pumping and thinking about changing diapers, I really didn't even know what to do with him, at this point, very difficult. And we don't have family in the United States, so I was alone, just my husband and I. And I was reading the email, and the email said you have to confirm it, I think, like in 48 hours. And I said, man, this is impossible. I mean, I cannot do it. For sure, I cannot do it. I have to say no, because just if it's possible. But then I started to think, and I said, oh my God, like I cannot say no to Carnegie Hall. I cannot say, hold on, let's do it next year, when he grows up a little bit, So I said, okay, let's do it, and step by step. And I think this was the most difficult year of my life. I felt, I was regretting so many times, not Carnegie Hall, but just the situations, because let's say I was practicing and I felt bad because I felt I should be with my son and I am missing out moments. I started to practice when he was sleeping at night. So basically I never slept, So when I was with him, I felt like, oh my God, I should practice. I'm not going to be ready. So it was very, very, very difficult. But, I made it.
You made it. And the performance, from what I understand, was flawless.
It was amazing. It was very special. We had the twice standing ovation and full house, and incredible. It was just such a special moment. And you know what? Just a little comment I never shared with anyone, actually, that after the concert, my mom, they are in Europe, so there is a time difference, So it was early morning in Europe when I talked to her, and she was crying. How was it? Everything, right? So when I told her everything was good, she started to cry because she told me that, her father, my grandfather, passed 50 years ago, right? And she told me that first time in her life she had a dream with him, about him, and he touched her face, I just started to cry, and then she was so much crying, because she never ever had a dream with him before. So I do remember I was walking in New York after the concert, and I just cried. She was crying, and it was a very powerful moment.
Yeah, it had to have been a powerful moment, because I think there are a lot of people out there like myself that believe when something supernatural like that is happening, that you're channeling your grandfather's music, you're on one of the grandest stages that anybody could step foot on, Carnegie Hall, and you're throwing out his spirit and you're throwing out his energy. And your mother, has her first dream and feels the touch. I mean, that's a God nod right there.
100%.
It is a God nod. I don't want to keep putting you on the spot because typically we don't play audio, but do you have
Unfortunately,
it?
I don't have audio from this one, but I do
Okay.
from your other performances too. So we could listen to
just
that
a little
one.
taste of it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let's check that one
All
out
right,
because we do
cool.
want need to hear you play a little bit. We
And-
just can't make the copyright gods unhappy.
Okay. Oh yeah. I don't want to put you on the spot for that either.
Are you in a flow state when you do this, or are you thinking very hard?
Very good question. I am not thinking very hard. I am more like feeling the music, kind of, But,
This is incredible.
but this concert hall, if I may say, this is in Croatia. This was 2 months ago in April. And I would call this as the Croatian Carnegie Hall. People like Tina Turner, Sting, Pavarotti, they were on that stage. The most famous Croatian concert hall, the name is Lisinski. And a few months after Carnegie Hall, I was able to step on this stage and play. I really, truly feel I am blessed,
Incredible. And the deep magical voice that you're hearing is that of our lead digital reporter and producer, Brody Waddell, who's behind the scenes here trying to give you guys a taste of this incredible talent's music that we just feel so honored. And Brody, as you can imagine, Bernadette doesn't have a ton of time to sit around and watch Netflix streaming series, but I was telling her about, Bridgerton and how the youth of today, they're being exposed to this type of music because of the show, which is such a great thing. Don't you feel the vibe of it when you listen to her music?
Seems just like it. I bet
she
that's
could
been
write for
helping.
the Netflix series,
Right.
I think.
You could be on there. You could guest star.
Yeah, you should guest star in there. But it really is something spectacular. And you say, Bernadette, that you have worked hard to make this music, translate to all different age groups.
100%, because until now, that's why actually Rebirth, the new release is going to be very special for me, because my entire life I used to play cover songs. Of course, my grandfather's songs are original songs, but other than that, I always play cover songs: Italian, Spanish, American, classical, just name it, thousands songs. And that's why every time when I played in a concert, I have performed more than in 90 countries and 150 cities. And every time when I played somewhere, I always try to personalize the concert to the audience. Let's say I don't play exactly the same music in Hungary or in the the United States, or in Florida or in Boston, or in Italy, So always personalize a little bit. And this was one of the reasons why we said, you know what, we should make my music, which I don't have to personalize anymore. I can play it whenever, wherever, to which any age group I want, whichever country I want, and people will enjoy it. And when I did my first release of my first original song, the Redemption, which you just heard a few seconds ago in the concert hall, that song, that was my first original song. And when it came out, I think 2 years ago, there was such a nice feedback from around the world that they said, oh my God, this song just sounds like you. This is just like Bernadette, So we said, my producer and I said, okay, you know what? So maybe we should go in that path, and we should start to make my music where everybody just gonna recognize it that, oh, that's Bernadette, So that's the plan, and that was the plan, and that's why now the new song there will be a Redemption album this year. And the new single from the album is Rebirth, which is going to come out on June 19 next week together with the music video. And I'm super, super thankful because the biggest record label of Hungary, Magnauton Music Group, I just signed with them last week, and they are part of Warner Music. And that, the fact that they stand behind me with Rebirth and Redemption album, it makes me very much blessed.
That's incredible. Let's talk, because Brody and I were talking about this too, and you were wondering about life balance when it comes to being a world famous violinist.
Right. Like, are you obviously, in order to be one of the best in the world at something, you have to live, move, and act and think differently. Well, how aware are you of, like, what things have you had to give up or do you not engage in order to be at that level? That's just something that fascinates me.
You mean professionally, like in music, or you
In
mean in
life,
life?
there's no way that you can be the best in the world at something and do everything else.
Oh, exactly. No, I to be honest, I don't think I am the best in the world. I don't know. I think I'm far from that, to be honest. But thank you.
Among the elite,
Thank you. I try. I always say that passion and determination are the most important things to reach your goal. That's number one. Because many people, journalists, and people also, they ask me that talent is enough. Well, talent is very important, but it's not even close to be enough. There are so many other things you need. But I think, again, most importantly is passion and determination. I always say that if you find, I don't think I have a job. I am lucky enough that I never worked in my life because I found my passion. And I was lucky enough to have my bread because of my passion, if you know what I mean. So I always say, I always say to people that if you find your passion, you will never have to work in your life anymore. I always talk about the violin because the violin is my passion. So you need to find your own violin to be able not to work anymore in your life. Your own violin, your own passion. I gave up a lot of things, to be honest. Now I could say that when I was a kid, I was practicing in my room all day, looking out through the window, and all the other kids were playing. But actually, it's not true. It never happened. I hated to practice. I never practiced. So, but of course, when I was 13 years old and I realized that, okay, I really want to become a violinist, then I actually really started to practice, and the hard work started. I had to give up things because I had to realize that hard work will pay off. Now that I have a son, a little baby, I have to give up even more things because now I have him 24 hours and I have my career, which I need to maintain and need to work on it. Professionally, unfortunately, I also realized that if you want to be on the top level, especially in the United States, but I think everywhere in the world, unfortunately, you cannot agree to any concert. You have to choose which one you are going to do. And maybe you will not do 150, 250 concerts a year. You are only going to do 15, but then 15 is going to be the highest quality because you cannot allow yourself to do a lower quality concert. I try to do a lot of charities because it's always very important to do, very important to me to do charity concerts around the world, charity events, especially when it's around the children. It's always important. I don't know. I know it sounds like I really mean from my heart that I just always follow my heart and my passion. And I always feel inside what is the right thing to do. And I always just try to do that.
And I think it's kind of cool too, that your son, as young as he is now, I believe you said he's 17 months now. Yes. Children start to really sponge and learn and see the world through their little baby lenses. I think it's actually brilliant that your son can grow up watching his mother live out her passion. What a great lesson for him.
I had a goosebumps now when you said that, and I cannot wait to actually explain to him. I cannot wait to tell him the story that he was 2 weeks old when I received the email from Carnegie Hall. I took him to the stage of Carnegie Hall. He was, I believe, like 8 months old. Actually, he was born on New Year's Eve. How special is that? For me, that was the first New Year's Eve of my life that I didn't perform. I perform every year for New Year's Eve. I had a better thing to do. I was in the hospital with him that year. And I took him to the stage of Carnegie Hall. I took him to this stage, which we just seen a few minutes ago, which is a super famous stage. So before the age of 2, he was in 2 main stages around the world on the stage with me. And then he flew with me so many times. People usually after a flight, they ask me, that, did you give him Benadryl? I said, no, I would never do that. Why? Because he was so calm. He is a very, very, very good boy. And I feel I don't know if he's going to be a musician or not. I definitely don't want to push him. I would love him to be, but I want him to just be happy, really. If he likes, definitely, but I don't want to push him into anything. But I want to give him the options, the chances, and I want him to grow up with this, with the stage, because then even if he will not be a musician, but if he will decide to be in any kind of entertainment world, he will not have any fear, to be in stage, be in front of people. I want him just to be normal for him,
That's
part of life.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Do you have any more questions for Bernadette?
I don't know. What are you going to do if he isn't in the music? What if he,
what if he wants to be a
does
ball player?
what the kid thing
Go to
is,
the
and
NFL.
they rebel against the exact gift that they were, kind of handed?
I would love for him to be a musician. My husband always laughs because he's not. His family is absolutely anti-musical, let's say. And when I say that, my son is going to be a musician, he said, yeah, sure, look at his hands, because he has more like a worker hands already now as a 17 months old. So I would love for him to be a musician, but it is a very difficult, I don't want to say job, it is a very difficult life to do it, because as I said, you can be talented, it's not enough, and it's a very hard work. And to be honest, many times the hard work doesn't pay off in the music industry, and sometimes it does like that, and I think it's always also about luck sometimes. I chose this, so I am on this already, but I love it. I love it every second of it, especially when I'm on stage. I love that. But I really want him to be happy. And I think you need definitely a personality to handle this. And I will need to see if he has that personality, because it's not easy.
And when you say a personality to handle it, what are some personality traits that you feel are necessary to handle this kind of rigorous, schedule and getting on the stage and performing and
constant rejection, pushing through,
So, for example, how I deal with this, that most of these years, when people ask when did I fail or how many times I failed, most of the time my answer is that I never failed. And then I am thinking that, hold on, that's not true. I failed a million times. But then, the reason is because I never ever took it as a failure. Because I always, if I want something one way and it doesn't happen that way, I always just realize that that's fine. I guess this was not my way. So let's go the other road. The door was closed. Let me find another door or a window maybe where I can, I don't know, jump through or climb through. So I never take it as a failure. One of the biggest thing in my life, I think the only one when I really felt that I failed, when I came to the United States, because of my grandfather. I was trying to come to the United States. And here, if you are not American, you need to get a visa, right? So I was trying to get an artist visa, where I was trying to, let's say, prove that I have extraordinary abilities in my field. So it took me 2 years to get all the papers done. It was 600 pages, only about my professional life, concerts, magazines, news, whatever. And guess what? They denied it because I did not have a Grammy award.
What?
So yes, this happened. So when I received the letter, that I don't have a Grammy award, so they denied it, I cried for days because I did everything. For 2 years, I was working very hard. I cannot say that, I should work a little more. No, I did everything I could. So that moment, I actually felt that I failed. But guess what? It turned out, now I can tell you that no, I did not fail. It was not my way. I had a different way. And my way was to have a family. I wanted to bring my family legacy, my grandfather's family legacy to the United States. And what was my way? To have my own family here. Because my son was born here. I have a family here. This is my new home now. And this was my way to be here. So you know what? The officer was right. I don't have a Grammy award. So
Well, listen, you are award winning in our hearts and minds, and we're so grateful and proud of you for the incredible work and the high achievements and your music that is resonating with so many of us. So thank you for joining us on the Bloom Health Club.
thank you so much. It was my pleasure to be here today.
Thank you. It was great. Until next time, everybody.